ladies and gentlemen. My name is Desak Pramesti. It is such a great pleasure and honor for me to share about neoadjuvant and adjuvant chemotherapy in breast cancer. As we know, breast cancer is still become the most common cancer and leading cause of cancer-related mortality amongst women worldwide. It's been stated that the best approach for this disease is multimodal therapy, which chemotherapy is one of the main pillar of the treatment. So as clinician, we have to understand the basic concept of chemotherapy. So this is going to be our today's highlight. We will discuss starting from the definition, the brief history of chemotherapy, philosophy of the chemotherapy, the regimen, what we most commonly use, and then goals of therapy and how to evaluate it, also the conclusion. So by definition, chemotherapy is treatment that use drug to stop growth of cancer cell by killing the cell or by stopping them from dividing. It could be administered one or more cytotoxic drug to destroy or inhibit the growth and division of malignant cell in the treatment of cancer. Chemotherapy is usually planned based on the tumor size, number nodes in the axilla, stage of the cancer, presence or absence of metastasis, and also the receptor status. In the history of the chemotherapy, as we know that breast cancer has been recognized since at least 1600 BC in an ancient Egyptian medical text, all concluding that there was no cure. In 17th century, an understanding of the lymphatic circulation enabled the link to be made between the breast and the axillary lymph node, and it led to the first lymph node surgery. And the treatment keep evolving since then. Radical surgery for breast cancer reached its peak in the 19th century in the hands of the US surgeon William Halsted, who removed not only the affected breast, but also the contralateral breast and all associated lymph node, also the underlying pectoral muscle. After the Second World War, the observation by the Goodman and Gilman that nitrogen master had the potential of anti-cancer effects. Then, the cyclophosphamide, methotrexate, and 5-fluorouracil became the first effective chemotherapy regimen for breast cancer introduced by Bonadonna in 1976. So, the systemic therapy in breast cancer may include chemotherapy, hormonal therapy, and targeted therapy. Most chemotherapy drugs work systemically as they travel throughout your body in your bloodstream as it circulates in the whole body part. Neoadjuvant therapy is the standard care for treatment of locally advanced and inoperable breast cancer. It thought to be facilitate tumor shrinkage and downstaging, so it will improve the surgical outcome and to evaluate tumors' sensitivity towards the therapy. And so for the adjuvant chemotherapy, it's thought to be improving the disease-free survival and overall survival by eradicating micrometastatic disease. For neoadjuvant chemotherapy, is it only used for locally advanced breast cancer? A new research showed that the early breast cancer also gained some benefits with neoadjuvant chemotherapy in terms of progression-free survival and also in the overall survival. There are some aspects that distinguish neoadjuvant and adjuvant chemotherapy. Here you can see that the timing of neoadjuvant chemotherapy is given before the surgery since its benefits to shrink down the tumor itself, while adjuvant chemotherapy is done after the surgical procedure. The indication for using neoadjuvant regimen such as in locally advanced breast cancer, high-grade tumor, unicentrous only the ER/PR receptor negative status. And for the adjuvant chemotherapy, usually it will be given after we receive the full pathological report because we will know about the tumor size, the node involvement, the grading, the subtype, or even the lymphangial-invasive or vascular invasive type of the tumor. So there are 5 kinds of chemotherapy agents that widely used right now. Number one is antimetabolite groups such as 5-fluorouracil and methotrexate. The second group, we have an alkylating agent such as cyclophosphamide. And then the third group, we have the antibiotic groups such as anthracycline. And then the fourth group, we have an anti-microtubule such as ataxan and vinca alkaloid. And the last one, we have the mitotic inhibitor such as cisplatin and carboplatin, which is, we know is a platinum-based chemotherapy. So the philosophy behind the combination chemotherapy is that all cells go through 5 phases during reproduction cycle. Many chemo drugs work only at one phase of the cycle, while other drugs are not phase-specific. It is logical to attack multiple phases of the cell replication to prevent mutation and resistance from occurring. Oncologists will strategize when developing the best combination for the patient. And we also have to consider what kind of regimen is best for the patient, considering multi-drug therapy also will resulting in drug toxicity that could lead another problem for the patient. According to American Cancer Association, here are the list of the drugs that usually being used for the treatment. Usually we give a combination of 2 or 3 of these drugs, such as a combination of anthracycline, taxane, 5-fluorouracil, cyclophosphamide, or carboplatin. While for the more advanced cases of breast cancer, also we can use vinorelbine, capecitabine, gemcitabine, or eribulin. And as for in our oncology center in Dr. Sutomo General Hospital, these are the regimen that commonly used in our daily practice. In the first line group, we have the combination of cyclophosphamide, anthracycline, and 5-fluorouracil. While the second line therapy, we use usually a combination of platinum and taxane. And then the third line, we can use gemcitabine, or lately we also use the eribulin or vinorelbine. So how about the preparation for someone who will get chemotherapy? First, the patient preparation. We have to make sure that the patient get the definite diagnosis and their states, whether it's early, locally advanced, or metastatic state. And we also don't forget to ask about their prior therapy. Next, the medical preparation, including laboratory such as complete blood work, and then the renal function test, the liver function test, and the performance status of the patient. Sometimes we also need other diagnostic studies such as echocardiographic report, because we knew that some drugs have a cardiotoxic effect. The last is hospital administration. Basically, it's the legal paperwork such as informed consent and the site monitoring effects. As we discussed earlier, in terms of systemic therapy in breast cancer, it also includes endocrine therapy, which can be given to the patient as the combination therapy for the certain subtype. And it also can be given before and after surgery. And of course, when we give endocrine therapy, we have to assess whether our patient is in premenopause or menopausal state. As we can see through this picture, that each endocrine therapy works in one specific way. So understanding the patient menarche status will help us to determine the best selection of endocrine therapy that appropriate for our patient. So after all of this explanation about chemotherapy, we have to know how to evaluate our therapy so we know whether our therapy is working or not for the patient, and how we can monitor the chemotherapy response. We can start from doing physical examination so we can measure objectively the changes in tumor size using a ruler or caliper, or maybe diagnostic procedure techniques such as mammography, ultrasound, CT scan, or even MRI to evaluate the size of the tumor or if there's a progression of the disease. For the molecular monitoring, we can use tumor marker and pathology examination. In terms of chemotherapy response, WHO first described a tumor criteria response in 1981. The first concept was to evaluate the size of the tumor bidimensionally and specify the response basically from the difference of its former size. And in early 2000, RECIST stated that a new criteria in determining of chemotherapy response, and it will categorize the response into complete, partial, stable, or even progressive state of breast cancer. So the last, I'll address the response according to the pathological state. So for the pathological complete response is the ultimate goal of chemotherapy. Responder were categorized as having a Miller pain grades 3 or 4 or 5, while the non-responder group will have a grade 1 or 2. So we reach into our conclusion. Chemotherapy, whether it's neoadjuvant or adjuvant settings, has become an integral part of multimodality management of breast cancer. By knowing the basic principle of chemotherapy, we can decide what are the best options for the patient at the time. Neoadjuvant and adjuvant chemotherapy both has its own benefits and indication, all in hope for improving overall survival of the patient. Chemotherapy can be given in early or locally advanced patient. If it's given properly, it will benefit the patient. Nowadays, we are moving towards more individualistic approach, which patient selection is the key. So thank you. So thank you for all of your attention. Hope it will be helpful, and we will begin the discussion shortly.